Ooh, that looks tasty.
Shh! Come on! Let's go! Yes, I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm tired of us being compared to each other. Let's go! We're gonna settle this once and for all. After tonight, we're gonna know which one of us is the greatest student in this school of sorcery.
Welcome, folks. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we are talking about School of Sorcery, designed by Steve Finn, with art by Lawrence Vandermeer, and published by Dr. Finn's Games. Now, before I get started, please make sure you have turned on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make a mistake with the rules, that's where you'll find the corrections. So what School of Sorcery is it is a two-player only game in which you are trying to collect the best collection of magical objects or loyalty from wizards or other magical people. And the first player to collect 13 points will trigger the end of the game, and whoever finishes with the most points after that will be the winner. And in order to do that, you will be collecting these magical crystals and then casting them out into the ether to collect these various items out here. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played and just want to jump ahead to my final thoughts, then you're going to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk a little bit about how this game works. So all in all, this game is actually very, very simple. To start out, each player will get 2 of these permanent powers, these permanent abilities. And what you'll see here is each one of these has a power, and you can use these once per turn. I'll talk about them a little bit later. But more importantly, up on the top, you'll see that they have victory points. So you will actually start the game with a minimum of 2 victory points. You'll see those up there. And the game is going to take place over the course of 5 rounds. And each round you will do these various tasks here. So you start out and you'll take 5 crystals. Then after that, you will cast your crystals. And you're going to cast your crystals out on the board to try to claim various objects. And again, I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. Then you will use the portal, which is one of the places you can cast your crystals. Then after that, you will activate powers that you may have that may change things up, and then you will evaluate all the locations and see who, if anyone, wins the different cards and therefore gets the victory points. Now, at any point, if someone gets to 13 victory points, then at the end of that round will be the end of the game. So let's talk about how this casting crystals and collecting of cards actually works. So what's going to happen is each player will roll their dice. Now, I always have the option. I can use a reroll token to reroll 1 or more of those at any point if I so choose. And then what you're going to do is, ostensibly, these various dice will correlate to one of the cards that are out there. And I'm just going to reroll this one just so we have something a little bit different. There we go. Then what's going to happen, for each one of these dice, you will play one of these cards here. And what this is doing is it is telling you how many crystals you are going to be casting onto the card that is up there. So for example, if I were to play this one here for this 2, I would be saying that I'm going to cast a single crystal out there. If I were to play, say, this one right here, that means that I would be casting 2 crystals out to there. I might do 3. I might do nothing, or I might do one of these cards here, which has this little flip symbol on it. So what this means is that before I cast my 2 crystals, I would flip this die over, it would become a 2, and then 2 crystals would be cast there. And you have these options, and after the turn is done, you would collect all of them back. So once both players have played all of their crystals, and I'll just put a few more out here, then you get to use the portal. And what that means is if you have any crystals over here, you get to move all of them to any location of your choice. So for example, I'm going to change that. Let's just say that that is what I have. I could take these 2 crystals and place them there, and now I have 4 right there. After that, you use your powers. And each power that you have is explained on the bottom whether or not you can use it at any given time, and they may add crystals out there, they may not, they may give you bonus victory points, or who knows what it is that they might do. Then after that, you evaluate the locations. And the way you know if you are able to claim a card is you look at this number up here. This card cannot be claimed until there are 3 crystals on it. However, it's not as simple as I have 3 there, I win. because down below it there's another number, and that is the difference that you have to have. So at this point, if we got to evaluation like this, yellow would claim this card because they have 3 and there's a difference of at least 2. However, if it was like that, even though I have 3, the difference is not at least 2, so this card would not be claimed. Now, there are rules about getting crystals back if someone claims a card and you still have crystals on there, but I'm not going to get into that in detail. The only other thing that I will say is when a card is claimed, it goes into your hand. And if it is a green card, there is an immediate power that you are able to do. In this case, it would score 7 points if you have both broken wands, and you also take 2 crystals. This one right here, take 1 crystal for each character that you have. Then, I've already told you that the red cards are permanent powers, and then you have these yellow cards, which are one-time use powers. And that is the gist of the game. There's a few details that I left out, but overall, that is it. So, what do I like about this game? First off, I have a weakness for quick, simple, light, 2-player games like this one. It's really a type of game that I enjoy playing with my wife because it doesn't take a ton of brain power to learn how to play. It's very easy to learn, it's very easy to figure out what's going on, but there is a nice amount of depth and strategy to it. And like all of Dr. Finn's games that I've played, this one is no exception. The amount of strategy that you get out of this game is definitely more than the sum of its parts. I like the way the game looks. I like the art on these cards. It's not the most incredible art you've ever seen, but it is nice to look at. It's a nice looking game. Even the artwork on these tiles here, it's nice, it's thematic. It fits this kind of school of sorcery as you're kind of competing to be the best sorcerer and show you the best. And now I have a weakness for these things. They're just basic board game pieces. You can get them all the time, but I love the way they look. I don't know. So anyhow, I have a weakness for that. Colorful dice. I like all of that. I love rolling dice. So all of these things really speak to me. But I've totally gone off and rambled there. The point is that this is a quick, simple to play, hard to master game, which really is kind of Dr. Finn's MO. I also really appreciate how the different color of cards work because some of them are clearly worth more points. Some of them are much more riskier. Like I had that wand down here. Like this is totally useless unless I get the second one. And here's the stack. So you may or may not get it, but I love that you can play to that choice. You can go down the path of ones like this where you get extra crystals for every character you have. Well, again, you have to go through this whole deck to get those characters if that is the way you want to go. Maybe you want to go down the path where you're just trying to get all these special powers, which might not give you as many points, but there's a power you can use every single turn. And there's just a whole bunch of options that you have. While at the same time, it does not become overwhelming. Again, keeping in line with Dr. Finn's MO. This is a game that you're going to play in definitely under half an hour, I think, once you know how to play. It says 40 minutes on the box, maybe the first time out. So, what are my quibbles with this game? And really, other than the one that I often say with games like this, that it's not a heavy game. There's not a ton to it. You're not going to spend a whole day playing this game. My only real quibble that I have with this game is there is a decently significant element of luck that you have to deal with. And by that, I mean it is possible that you can just not roll what you need. Now, the game does do a good job of adding some mitigation. After all, you do have these cards here that let you flip over to the other side. So I got a 5, I needed 2. Well, you can do that. And that is good, and it also does help keep your opponent on their toes. I like that as well. But at the end of the day, you can only flip to the other side. Maybe you just don't roll a 3 or a 4 and you can't get to the 3s and the 4s in the middle. It could happen. And along with that, there is the drawing stuff out of the deck here. And that goes along with, as I said, sometimes you can go for a strategy that is high risk, high reward. But when you do that, that means you might be taking all this risk for no reward. Like those wands I said, you can go for that and be trying to get that and then just never get the second wand. It doesn't even come out onto the board and you just have wasted your time. You have nothing. And so that might not be what you're necessarily looking for. But really, that's it, folks. If you're not concerned about a little bit of chance with not a ton of mitigation to it, then this is another good offering in the Dr. Finn's catalog. I have to say, if I'm looking for a game that I can play with just my wife, then Dr. Finn's catalog is one that I'm going to look at because they're simple, they're quick, they all play very differently, they use different mechanics, but at the end of the day, it's a good, light, quick, mind engaging game. And so if that is something that you're looking for, then I can definitely recommend this one. Again, if you're looking something for something with heavy mechanics that's really crunchy, that's going to take a lot of brain power, then this probably isn't it. But then again, you probably have stopped watching this review by now. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. School of Sorcery is another good offering in the Dr. Finn catalog. If you like any of his other games, you will probably enjoy this one also. If you've never played any of his games, he has a whole bunch of different offerings out there. Take a look. You can probably find one that is of interest to you. So there you have it, folks. If I made any mistakes, please let me know in the comments with the timestamp. We'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, if this video was useful, please like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.